Hello, hello, hello. It's Mondays with Miriam. It is Miriam Freer, that's me, from Enyo UK. So whether you're joining us on this video live at 8 o'clock or whether you're on recap, then thank you very, very much for joining us. Enyo is all about enabling us to remove harmful chemicals from our homes. But you'll see today, we're not on a home, we are in the lovely Fiona Brown's stable. And last week we spoke all about cleaning Duke. And this week we're going to talk about all the stuff that goes on top of Duke. So cleaning tack, but in our self-care calendar, because I'd like to start with that, today is all about drinking water. All right, so that's amazing, isn't it? Because it rehydrates us, it looks after our skin. And I was thinking about it today, and just isn't that great that not many people can say that they can drink their cleaning product, but that's what you can say. So if you're using Enyo to clean, then you right now are drinking your cleaning products. So isn't that an amazing accolade? And aren't we fortunate to live at the moment, well we do, in a country where I can go and get this from the tap and use it. So today I'm going to be led by Fiona about cleaning tack, and she's going to talk a little bit about what she used to use, and then we're going to talk about the items out of our Enyo range that we will use to clean her tack as well. You can see that we're shouting a little because we're just making sure that we're distanced, but we're both going to be cleaning. But I'm going to lead over with Fiona. And first of all, can you tell us about what you used to use to clean your tack before you started to use Enyo?
Yeah, as you will be aware, a leather saddle and a bridle is quite an expensive buy. So we go by what other people use, and we think, right, I'll use that, I'll use this, and I'll use that. Here is some things. Belvoir tack cleaner, deep clean 1, deep clean 2. It's quite a strong smell. Both about £8.50, £9 each.
Okay.
They would last maybe 3 cleans, 4 cleans. Made a lovely job, but quite a strong smell with it. You would also put it on with a cloth, a sponge, sorry, which really absorbed a lot of the product. So a lot of the product wasn't getting on the saddle. So in the end, I would end up spraying the saddle too. So I'd be using heaps, and it would be quite a strong smell. And my tack room wouldn't smell, this sounds strange, but natural. It would smell chemical.
Okay.
Since I've changed to using more natural things, again, it's been a slow process to kind of think about what I'm going to do next, because I've been following the crowd. So I started using things with beeswax in it, leather cleaner, more natural stuff, which was good. And my tack room started to smell more, I don't know, natural. And if anybody smelled the leather and balm, would balm, wow, it smells amazing. And somebody actually said there was instructors that came up from South to do lessons here, and they said, your tack room smells amazing. So I thought, right, what else can I do to make this more natural, more chemical free, more environmental friendly, and more kind of, what would you say for my leather, more
Nourishing.
Nourishing,
yeah.
That's the word. It needed a feed.
Yeah. So before though, you said your tack, it made a nice job of your tack. So what was it that you liked about what you used before?
Do you know what I liked was the shine? But I realised now, with what Miriam was saying about nourishing, it was sitting on the top of my tack.
Oh, so how often when people say, oh, I love that shower shine because it gives that real impact, but it's the same, it's the chemical sitting on the top.
It was sitting on the top.
Rather than feeding the thing that we're trying to look after.
Yeah, and whereas now with the leather balm, I have just bought a new bridle, and I want to start off with not spreading loads of chemicals on it. I want to start off with the leather balm, so it's natural and it doesn't make a smeary kind of way on it. I want it to soak deep into the leather because it's an expensive purchase and we want to keep it for years.
And how long would a saddle last, generally?
If you have a saddle that fits a horse and they don't change shape, and you don't change shape, it can last for years and years and years. I have a saddle in my tack room that I had for a pony when I was 9, and there's nothing wrong with it.
And can you fit that there?
I know I can. And I don't
It's
have
still
a
fits the
pony that
horse.
fits in it
Oh,
either.
but
so-
it's still in good nick,
Yes.
and you can clean them all.
Yes, absolutely.
So we're going to talk about the everyday clean,
Yeah.
because that's what happens, isn't it? When I say everyday, the every time you use it clean,
Yeah.
the deeper clean, and
Yeah.
what you would do when you are going out and getting cluttered with mud
Yeah.
over the winter.
Yeah.
And we're also going to talk, you'll see I've got an outdoor sponge here, because we're also going to talk about those tricky bits to keep clean as well, like your stirrups. And we're also going to talk about all the hairs on the numner and the blanket and the rug and all of that stuff. So, well, let's start from the top.
Okay.
And while you're just getting ready, tell me, how much do you think you were spending a year, if you can, on cleaning your tack before?
I think, working it out, 20, 30 pound every 3 months maybe.
Okay, and does that include saddle soap and all of that sort of
saddle
malarkey?
soap, sponges, all your different sprays. And I'd probably end up spending more because I'd want to try a new spray, or I'd want to try this or try that. And for me, I think the cost, I would pay a good price for a good clean for my tack, because, you know, people, it's funny, if I have something for sale tack-wise, I hear in the community people say, oh, it's been well looked after, it was Fiona's. So I take pride in my tack, and I want it to look lovely. You know, if this gets a scratch on, I am absolutely devastated. So I want to make sure I have the best product, and if that means spending a little bit more, I will.
But actually,
I think-
even if we look at the way that
Yeah.
NO works, well, let's start, and
Yeah.
then at the end we can tally it
Okay.
all up. So the important thing for you was it was nice and shiny.
Yeah.
So we're looking for the shine, but also the nourishing in it
Yeah.
as well. And was there anything you didn't like?
The smell.
The smell. Okay.
The smell.
So I know last week you were saying with Duke that you had made that transition because you were using no chemicals in your homes and no chemicals.
Yeah.
And then did the tack come next?
Yes and no. I think the tack probably started to come before I changed with the horses,
Okay.
because I was starting to use so much products. I was starting to think, this is not feeding it.
Yeah.
And I needed something to feed it, so I started to use lots of different products that were natural.
Yeah.
But I still couldn't get what I wanted. And only because I am now using NO in my home, and I thought, right, I'm going to try the leather band, and I just can't see past it.
Brilliant.
And also time, you know, to clean your tack before, it would be a full clean.
Yeah.
Whereas now, advice from yourself, I can use this cloth,
Yes.
the living cloth,
Yeah, living soft cloth, brilliant.
soft one, for a quick clean. Now, when I exercise Duke, he often comes back sweaty, and I just think I can't put my tack away like that, but I don't have time to give a good clean. And I think, you know, we're all busy, we've all got busy lifestyles, and I think, what can I do, and what can I give my little boy to help me to do?
Yes.
With no chemicals, nothing. As Miriam said, he could drink the water. You know, it's just water in the bottle. So he's happy when I'm, you know, brushing down Duke with my dual glove and getting him ready after his work to go outside. My little boy can spray the wee living cloth and give this a clean over.
Lovely. So can you show us what you would do?
I wouldn't spray directly on it.
Okay. Because you don't need to anyway, do you? With your living soft cloth, you just need it damp.
Just damp. I wouldn't ever have it soaking.
And it says on the label, if you remember with NO, it tells you how you need to use it. So if I show you, just while Fiona's in the background, you can see we've got a half water droplet, and that means that we're going to use the fibre damp. And the reason why I've got two here is this is the older revision. All right, so if you have one that looks like that, maybe you have a horse, you've never used it, it now looks like this. It is, I think, softer and more absorbent. But we spoke last week about repurposing things. And if you remember, Fiona repurposed her body duo glove to use around Duke's nostrils. And I'm just saying that if you have an older cloth, then repurpose it back into using it for something else. And we're going to talk about that as well when we get to the stirrups. But all you've done is you've just taken that damp and wipe all the way over.
Yeah, I think if it was too wet, it would make it look kind of not shiny anymore. It would go a funny kind of...
And it's not the purpose of the fibre, is it?
No.
So if you came in and it was really dirty, then you would step up your clean, wouldn't you?
For me, that'll dry and it'll
Yes.
come shiny again.
Lovely.
So don't
Well, look,
worry
you can
too
already
much.
see it.
You can already see it. So it doesn't need to be dried with an Enyo film.
And you could just use your polishing cloth dry on it. Yeah?
Yes. Or
Perfect.
or one of the ones I've done Duke's hoops
Balms with before,
just
yes.
quickly, just a quick going over.
Just to
Because
re-nourish it again.
I have a lady that rides, and sometimes we both forget and we put our girth strap over.
Oh.
And because we're riding in a sand arena, the sand comes on here and the sand's gritty and it can
Just
scratch.
rub it slightly, yes.
So definitely using a wee wipe to wipe it over like this, all over. You can do everything with this.
And would you do his girth every time if he's been out?
If it was really wet or dirty and had a lot of sand stuck to it, I don't know if I would use this first, because I would worry then after I had that to go then and scrape it on that. So I might take that off and use your scrubby little sponge.
Yes, okay. All right,
Yeah.
or do your girth last, if you were
do it
going to.
last.
Okay, so, and it's great, isn't it? Because if we're talking about the girth,
Yeah.
well, actually, any part of the saddle, because it's right on his skin, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
And so the important thing is that he's not now got
More
a chemical in contact with him, which must be really aggravating.
Well, yeah, he's moving in it the whole time.
Absolutely.
So if I'm going to sit down and give my tack a really good going over, I would use this one.
Okay.
So that's your medium.
Yes, and which side do you tend to use on the leather?
Okay, for me I would use the soft side mostly.
Okay.
I would use the stronger side if I'm doing my stirrup leathers, and sometimes on my stirrups, but often the stirrups, because I have grippy ones, it snags a little bit.
Okay, so what we need is, this is our outdoor duo sponge. And so this is the deep fibre. This is just the same fibre that you've seen us use on Duke. It's just in a smaller form. So there's nothing that would stop you using this glove that you've already used. But you probably want it dry for him for next time, don't you? So
and often, because it's your feet in these, it's often the sandy way from the school.
Absolutely.
So that would transfer onto him.
So I can just work with this on the stirrup.
Yeah.
Which is great, isn't it? Because in the winter, I guess, it gets really muddy in all of the tread.
Yeah, in all of the tread. And I think the stirrups are a part that a lot of people forget about.
Okay.
You know, they really look after their saddle, but the stirrups need attention as well.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
giving them a
That's
good
doing
going
a nice
over.
job.
Yeah, that's really good. And believe it or not, you know, your stirrups are expensive too. So you need to look after every part of your kit.
Now, and we know, don't we, after an Enyo Tex fibre, that we do need to dry.
Yeah.
And so I haven't actually got an outdoor Enyo fill with me today, but actually I was thinking about it when you were talking last week about his eyes and his nose. We just need to dry this. So I've just got an old kitchen Enyo fill here, and this would be great. So if you're not a horsey person, then you might like to repurpose some of your old Enyo fills to a horsey person, who could, or use them as hand towels yourself, but this would be great for just drying off all of the stirrup.
That one compared to yours.
Ooh.
Fabulous. One.
Oh, here we go. Thank you very much, my dear. Right,
Amazing.
there we go.
See the treads? That's amazing. And how long did that take?
That's about 2 seconds.
2 seconds. Now, if you worked on that for maybe five minutes,
if I wanted to do a little bit more, and just really work on the tread.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That would just come up just
so I guess in the
lovely.
winter, that's when it's getting really dirty, isn't it?
And I think you just need to be aware of your tack and look after it. You know, every time you've been out, give it that little clean over. sometimes people wait and they give it a really good deep clean every now and again. But for me, it's been so much easier keeping on top of it, just doing a little bit each time. So when I go for my deep clean, again, I was saying to Miriam, I would clean it with the water, with this soft side. So I'm not going to do it again just because I did it with the living cloth. And then once it had dried, I would use one of my small polishing cloths with the leather.
And do you use that every time? Do you nourish it every time you do?
A deep clean.
Okay, every time you do a deep clean. And that is just dependent on muddiness and sweatiness and all that sort of stuff.
If I had been out riding and I had been caught in a shower, you know, it's not good for stains. Well, it'll stain the saddle. The rain just, it's like little droplets on it. So I would rather just give it a clean and then this.
And do you find though, in the same way that my picnic bench, I did that at the beginning of the season, and I took a photo this week actually, I must post it, that has all the water droplets still hydrophobic sitting on the top. Do you find that on your top of your saddle?
Yeah.
But it's not slippy to sit on?
No, absolutely. And that's a good point, because last time when I used the older stuff that I used to use, it was slippy. So I had my legs slipping everywhere and my bum slipping everywhere. So it wasn't good. So I have a little bit of the balm on here, and I tend to do it round like this.
Well, that's great, because that gets into, in the same way that we ask you to clean that way, because it gets into the pores and the crevices of everything, doesn't it? It gets the balm right in.
And I feel this size little cloth is handy, because it gets into all the little bits, and even under the little flaps.
And would you use that as well on your boots?
Yes, absolutely, everything. Any leather things, your handbags, anything. Oh, it's just an amazing, amazing little balm.
And say someone had inherited a saddle that hadn't been treated very well, they could give it a deep clean, couldn't they? And then just put the balm in and leave it to soak in.
Yes.
Just overnight, and to see how much the leather could absorb.
So if you were going to do that, I would rub it round and round like that and just leave it for the night.
Okay.
But sometimes I don't, and I actually, even if it's an older saddle or not, I think it's good for it to sit and soak in.
Yes, totally.
So then this one,
your polishing glove.
I don't dip this in the balm.
And do you know what? I'm just the same. I tend to have a cloth that I have in effect sacrificed to use with my balm, and I have one. Well, actually, I might have both of mine here, and you can see then the difference between the one that I've used with balm and the one that I haven't. It's very obvious, but then you're not washing it all the time, so you're getting the most of the product out of it. But I then have my glove that's dry. Yes, absolutely the same.
Then I would, even if I'd left this overnight, I would come back to it. But what I usually do is leave it for a little while and then just kind of, would you say, buff it up?
Yes, absolutely.
Buff it up like that. And as I was sitting here, Miriam, I'm thinking, I'm sure you did a little demo about brass.
Yes, so I was just going to say about that actually, because I know that your brass fittings, or if people have horse brasses, or if they've got a carriage or something like that. So on brass, then you would be using your living glove, all right, and also a tiny bit of calcium dissolver. So you'll put a bit of calcium dissolver on this side. Now, in this instance, you'd need to be really careful that you're not going to be on the leather as well. So you probably just want to put something, a piece of cloth underneath it, all right. But you can just work at the brass, and it will remove all of that staining. So I know some of you who use, as I say, carriage tack, and you've got quite a lot of brass buckles on that. This is the one to use, and it will make a tremendous difference to it. But just remember, with the citric acid, you need to make sure that you take it off again as well. Right, so you'd work on it with one side, flip it over, make this side quite damp, and remove it all. All right, just to make sure it's all off.
Just thinking of that because it was just right there. And I thought, I wonder. That's good. Good point.
But put a cloth underneath it first.
Cloth underneath. So then I would just continue to just soft. Just
fab on it. And you would do that all over all of the legs, to every part of it.
Just starts to,
it's
you
lovely,
can see the
shine on it.
And I know that it's soaking in.
Yes.
It's nourishing, and the smell is
lovely.
gorgeous.
So do you do that all over the saddle?
I would.
Every part?
if I'm giving it a deep clean.
Deep clean.
Yes.
So on the bridle then,
Yeah.
because that's often the bit, isn't it, that, well, the bit literally, but
Yeah.
that's the bit that gets kind of sweaty on the
Yes.
reins coming up here.
Yeah, and the noseband.
Yeah, so what would you use on those?
Okay, I've never had a bridle that's had a white bit on the inside of the noseband, and I've never realised how dirty it actually gets. This was clean before I rode, and now it's dirty.
Okay.
One ride.
Okay.
So I would get this, and I would spray my cloth here, my
Just when you got your spray there, that reminded me that last week when you were talking about Duke, that many of the sprays that you would have used in the past on a horse have a real jet,
Yeah.
and not many horses really like that. They don't like, so the soft mist of the Enyo spray, not only great for your tack, but just much kinder for your horse. I know that with dogs and bunnies and everything, you know, nobody likes a jet of water in the eye, so...
For me, that's come up a wee bit better, but I think I would feel tempted now to use the stronger side. So again,
because that's okay, isn't it? If we're not using it all the time. So just like on your leather suite, you know, if you had a problem area, we would tell you to step up in levels of fibre. So if you remember, with Enyo, the darker the fibre, the deeper the clean. So we always start with the living soft cloth because that fibre, that loopy fibre, is the softest fibre that Enyo do. But then I might step up to medium, and if that doesn't work, then I would step up to my strong fibre. But work your way up. And it's just the same that Fiona's doing now. And if you need to, on occasion, use the strong fibre, then that's what you would do. But if you used it every day on your leather tack, just in the same way as if you would on your leather sofa, then it's just going to rip out the oils.
Yeah.
Yep.
So just giving that a little clean.
Oh, ho, ho, ho.
Yeah, I think what I would do would be work a little bit harder, just on the seam area. If I wanted it really, really clean.
Remembering as well, isn't it? Because it's hard to remind ourselves not to push too hard. So do you ever change your hand?
I could do that.
And that would enable the fibre to do the work rather than the old method of, oh, I have to clean and have a good scrub. That works really well.
Yeah. So changing it into my left hand, and you can't press.
No, you
this
can't.
hard.
It's funny, isn't it?
But
if you let the fibre do the job of the deep pour clean.
And I think it just does need now and again a deep clean, and that side is fantastic. So you can see the shine on that. It does feel it needs fed.
A bit of food. Yes,
that's what it needs. But it feels like it's clean. It's not got any dirty, slimy, sweaty bits on.
No, I think that was when I very first cleaned someone's tack. I think I was amazed about it had definitely had that slimy, sticky way, and it was just having the purity of the leather again. Yes, I wanted to feed it, but I knew it was clean. It's like how people say, well, how do you know that your bathroom is clean using Enyo? You're just using water, you know. But you can feel it. You can
trust
sense it.
fibres.
You know yourself.
Yeah, and I think cleaning the tack with Enyo with the fibres is quite new to me. You know, I'll not lie, and it's getting used to not pressing hard. Whereas it shows me the last time when I was using saddle soap and things, I was scrubbing and scrubbing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now I need to learn to trust the fibres, and they will work. And that's coming up beautiful. And this is an old bridle, you know, and that is coming up lovely.
That looks really good, doesn't it?
When I use it on my new stuff,
absolutely,
I want it to be chemical free.
And well, while we're here, let's talk about the bit, because that's somewhere that gets really gunky, doesn't it? And in the past, what would you have used on that to get that clean? Before you used Enyo, what would you have used?
I have seen me put this in the dishwasher with dishwashing tablets.
Okay.
How naughty is that? To get
but
super
to be honest,
shiny.
We don't do these things because we're trying to be bad. It's like cleaning a high chair with a Dettol spray, isn't it? We don't do it because we're trying to harm the child. We're doing it because it's our learned behaviour of trying to keep things clean.
Absolutely.
So it's great now that there is an alternative.
Yes,
but all of those chemicals obviously would have been on the bit and in the horse's mouth.
And I think it's made me just more aware. I thought I was doing nothing wrong because we put our knives and forks in the dishwasher, so I thought it's fine. You know, day before a show, stick it in the dishwasher, it'll be fine. But now, using more chemical free products, as in the helpers and the fibres.
Mhm.
It's made me think about, that's got to go in his mouth.
That's not going to be too tasty.
No, and sometimes they slobber a lot when they're working because they're relaxed. And I think if that starts reacting with whatever's on that bit,
Yes.
that's really not good. So, and bits are actually really expensive. They're really
So how much would
expensive.
one of those be?
This bit is about £96.
And how long do they last?
It should last forever.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. So what I would do again with the little living one, wherever it's gone, I would give it a wee spray. Or, you know, when you come off the horse, dunk it in a bucket of water.
Oh,
It's
fab.
fine.
So a bucket of water there, so it's nice
give
and
it
wet.
a drip like that,
Yeah.
give it a wee, and then
Then
just
be able to work at it.
quickly.
And let
And
the
usually
fibre
it's
get
just
in.
the little
Yes.
corners where they've slobbered.
Absolutely.
And then what you can do once you've done your bridle, hang it all up. It's all been cleaned with water and
Yeah.
fibres, and it's ready to go.
Fab.
And where I find when you come to it then to give it a deep clean, I used to scrape the inside of the leather with a knife.
Totally. Well, it's like going to a hairdresser's, isn't it? And like the back of the chair, the hairspray sits, and they're forever trying to pick it off with a knife. If you're a hairdresser, you know exactly what I'm saying. But actually, this is the joy of Enyo, is that the fibre will do that lifting. So you haven't got any of that build up.
So there, I used to be able to scrape, and it would come off like a layer.
Yes.
On the rein or the noseband, but there's none of that anymore.
That's amazing.
So yes, it gets dirty, but it's not. It doesn't like stick to it.
So you think it's doing the job of keeping it cleaner for longer, just like the home.
Yeah, that's what I feel anyway. And your tack is going to get absolutely disgusting because sometimes you're out riding in the rain, in the mud, whatever, and it's sand in the sand arena, which is dusty sometimes in the summer weather. So it does get it all, but I definitely think it lasts longer when you clean it.
So, thank you.
And
that gives us so that gives us a great sort of overview of the saddle. I just want to talk about the link glove, alright, because this is a fantastic. Did I give that to you?
No, I had a little
look,
shot
here it is.
because I don't have one.
No idea how near it. Right, so the link glove. Remember that if you have a living glove that is yellow or is orange, then the clue is that we're going to use it dry. Right, so all the living fibres that are blue, we're going to use with some element of water. But if they are orange or yellow, like the duster, the polishing glove, and this, the link glove, which is orange, then the clue is that we're going to use it dry. And this motion is an across the way motion, not an up and down. And you can feel that one way, you can feel it rough on your hand. And what that will do is just help us lift up and remove, I'm at awkward angle here, lift up and remove the hairs which are sitting at the top there. So even just there, if you have a little look, if I can show you, you can see that we've got a good amount of hair just sitting in that glove.
So did you use that up the way?
I just used it across the way. And if we could take that off the saddle, have you got any chance of that?
Absolutely.
It's all happening here.
All happening. I haven't got a lint glove.
Ah.
And I'm thinking it might be a
good investment. Absolutely. So if I work my way across, even on that bit, so that you can see the difference.
Wow.
You can see that it's just picked up all of those hairs. I hope you can see that, just the difference. And if not, you'll have to take Fiona's on my word for it.
No, that is amazing.
That we've got a couple of strays that I need to go back and collect. All right,
they may not work their way.
Yes, they may work their way just into the actual fabric, but you can see the difference between the two and the amount of hair now that there is on the link glove. And then to remove that, I would just make this hand damp and I can roll it up, all right, and then pull it off. Again, a handy tip is that if you put this one in the wash, then again, I'd go and give it a shake outside as much as I can, but put it in a bag on its own, because it will be covered in hair. And if you can put it in a bag on its own, then it does that Enyo magic in the washing machine where it doesn't disperse over to everything else. Okay? Brilliant. So that could be a good addition for you. And for your, because you'll get cover for your clothes and your trousers and everything like that.
That'd be really good. Would you like wash it quite a lot? Or
I probably
Or-
wouldn't that much. I think I would go and shake it,
Give it
or
a
just make your hand damp and
Yeah.
roll off the worst
okay,
of it,
okay,
and then go and put it in. At
Okay.
home, I hardly wash mine at all.
okay.
But yours is obviously going to
Yeah.
get a bigger workout.
Yeah,
Okay.
good investment.
So a good investment as well. So we've had a look at some things, haven't we? We've looked at the Living Duo glove, the medium strong,
Yeah.
the Living soft cloth, the leather and the wood balm, the polishing cloth, the polishing glove. That's just over £100. So with this as well, £130. Right. So all we're talking about is about £40 a year. All right,
And
a bit less than that.
Yeah, I think this will last.
Yeah,
quite
absolutely.
A long time.
It will, because you're only using such a
Yeah.
tiny bit. But you were saying, how much were you using a month again?
Could be 20, 25.
£20 a year, £25 a month, as opposed to
Yeah.
35,
Yeah.
£40 a year. Okay, so what we're saying is, not only does it give a better result, oh, I forgot this one as well, so maybe we're up a little bit more, but these things are going to last.
Yeah.
And lots of other uses that you can also use them for, which is fantastic, isn't it? And more importantly, Duke, when he's ridden, is not going to have all of those chemicals all over his tack, and you are going to have something that means that you're not up to your arms in saddle soap as well.
And it's
So-
fade.
And it's fed.
And this, I can
Yes.
quickly do the tops of my hands when I'm
Yeah.
finished.
Yeah, it's fantastic for that, isn't
Just
it? Really nourishing,
Use
it's
the
nice.
whole lot of the stuff that's in it,
Absolutely, and just leave
yeah.
it in there.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
Oh,
2
excellent.
weeks excitement in your stable. Thank you so much for having
You're
us.
absolutely welcome.
I hope that you found that really helpful and enjoyable. Thank you for joining us. I know that you will be on replay, but we will still be looking at your comments, and thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great week, everyone. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.